We can talk now to Dimitris Avramopoulos, who's a former Minister for Foreign Affairs for Greece and a former EU Commissioner for Migration. Good morning, and thank you for talking to us.
Good morning, Martha. Thank you for having me. I listened to the report of your colleague, and if I'm allowed to make a comment, first of all,
please do, yes.
Let me tell you that I have witnessed the situation on the ground 5 years ago when I visited, together with the Prime Minister of France, Calais, to see the famous, notorious jungle. The situation is replicated now under more difficult conditions. It is a migration crisis, boosted also by organized smuggling groups who put people on boats to make this dangerous crossing, as you said before, to earn their profit. This is a pressing and urgent issue, not only for the United Kingdom and France, but for the whole of Europe, requiring incredibly close work together. Now, I want to make a proposal, if I'm allowed, given my experience. I do believe that channel crossings is not solely a question between the French and the British. It's also a European issue to secure that borders are protected, smugglers are crushed, and refugees can be able to have safer entries. Hence, I do believe the bloc as a whole in the United Kingdom should come up with a deal upon a successful model of the EU-Turkey statement that gave very positive results in the year 2016 that will satisfy both parts and ensure protection to those who need it.
And what would be the practicalities of that deal?
Very clear. It depends on the terms of this agreement between France, between the United Kingdom and the European Union. This is what I would like to stress here. It's not only a French-British dispute on that. Yes, on the ground there are many peculiarities, many problems that the two countries have to address together, but it has to be under the European umbrella. This is what I believe.
Well, what the Home Secretary here has been saying, I mean, to a certain extent she agrees with you that it is an EU issue as well, because she's saying what's happening is because there are open borders between Germany and France, many of the migrants are actually coming from Germany, only spending the last day of their transit going through France because there aren't checks at the border between Germany and France.
This is the point. That's what I said before. So it's not only a question of a bilateral issue, but the European Union from its side should do more on that. And don't forget that the European Union has adopted since 2015 the European agenda on migration. The United Kingdom was part of this understanding of the situation, and now it is the moment to extend it to the UK and the French borders. So it is a Euro-UK issue.
I understand that's your perspective, but what about the responsibility of France here? Because we heard from a Conservative politician earlier on this programme, and indeed from the Home Secretary, that they feel very strongly that France itself is not doing enough, that they could be doing more to detain migrants on their side of the channel.
Let me be frank with you. I have seen it in the past. There is always a blame game between countries when they all come to such a difficult situation. I would advise to avoid it, enhance cooperation, continue the ongoing dialogue between the two countries, and, as I said before, engage the European Union in order to stem the flows from the eastern borders of the Union towards the United Kingdom. Look, the United Kingdom will always be very attractive and a destination for migrants. This situation will not stop overnight. That's why I believe it has to be addressed like this. The other thing I would like to tell you is that migration is becoming one of the thorny issues globally. We can only address these challenges more effectively if we work together. This is what I proposed to the Secretary General of the United Nations, and he convened this very well-known leaders conference in New York. But, sorry to say, a lot of rhetorics and nothing in practical terms. You have to cope with a difficult situation, and this is my advice.
But individual countries will, of course, try to take action. Here in the UK, there are proposals that we should be imitating the example of Greece, your own country, with Greek-style, very strict reception centres. And also the UK has the powers now to push back boats in the Channel. What do you think of those measures?
There is a difference between what happened on the Greek borders or at the same time the European borders. And Greece reacted very correctly at that time. But still Greece is under pressure. Now, as far as the situation over the Channel, the maritime borders between the United Kingdom and France, it is a very complex system.
Well,
and it
but
needs
people on the south coast of England feel they're under pressure as well, given how many
Yes.
more thousands of migrants are now arriving.
I understand it. That's what this is what I told you before. It is not easy to cope with this situation by blaming the other. I think they should immediately deepen cooperation in a spirit of mutual trust and basing their policy on the same principles upon which the European agenda on migration was built, and the principles and the values of the United Kingdom as a democracy and the European Union.
Dimitris,
I know it is difficult, but there are no stalemates in politics. What we need is strong will, and don't give place, voice, and time to the populists and nationalists to play their own game.
Dimitris Avramopoulos, thank you for talking to us.